The dream season for Indiana football ends with a national championship. And for the first time in program history, your Hoosiers are national champions, baby. Let's go celebrate.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh my
I can't believe
God. Oh my God. The Indiana Hoosiers have done it. They have made history. They are 16-0, and they are national champions. Welcome into this crossover somewhat edition of Locked On Hoosiers. He is Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football. So generous with his time this evening. I'm your man, Jacob Goins, the host of Locked On Hoosiers. And Indiana football takes down Miami in the national championship game. And Indiana football, head coach Curt Cignetti and the entire football program are national champions. We are talking all about it on tonight's show. I don't know how long we're going to go. 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 1,000 minutes. I don't know. Until people quit coming,
we're going to find out
here pretty much all night long. So come on in, be a part of this historic moment for Indiana football. We just watched the game go final. We just watched Curt Cignetti and Fernando Mendoza do their on-field interviews. Spencer, the Indiana Hoosiers. I want everybody to listen because we've talked about it. We have hyped it up. We've dreamt of this, but now it's reality. In the year and the season of 2025 and 2026, the Indiana football Hoosiers are national champions.
Here's the wild thing about it to me, Goins. When Curt Cignetti got hired, was there a single Hoosier fan that saw this coming or said this is the standard or this is the expectation? No. Was there a single national pundit, myself or others, that said he's going to go on to win a Big Ten and national championship? No, of course not. But Curt Cignetti is so likable in so many ways and is great for college football because the way his team plays is the way it looks like he approaches every single day at the office. Bull don't care. Just shows up and said, nope, this is what we're doing. This is the standard. This is the way it goes. I mean, this was not a discussion at all when he got hired.
Not even close.
No one had this on the radar. This is the greatest story in the history of college football. Period.
I think it's the biggest turnaround in the history of sports.
I don't know what's comparable, because the other thing too is you got to think this is college athletics. This is not the equivalent, though it's a great story. This is not like Dan Campbell taking the Lions, who, and by the way, he only got to the NFC Championship game. And that's incredible. I mean, watching that happen, my Mariners going to Game 7 of the ALCS, incredible. They didn't even make the final game or series, let alone win the whole thing.
Yeah. Doubling down from last year, right? Indiana winning all those games, getting to the playoff, and it was like, oh,
insane.
This was kind of cool. This was kind of fun. This year, the expectation was, okay, get a little bit further. Get to the playoff and win that big game. But my goodness, Spencer, did they win big game after big game after big game?
In every fashion.
They won them all. They won every single game on the schedule. Indiana is the first team in the history of this amazing sport to be 16-0.
And by the way,
champions.
There is no, conversation that can be had about, well, they got an easy playoff path. Nope. They did. Well, their regular season schedule. Nope. You can't say that either. There's nothing that you can lob accusationally against the Hoosiers. And they were the best team in college football this year. And they wound up winning. Can we go through the moments in this game? Because I'm sure I'm sure Hoosier. I don't know when exactly you wanted to, but I just wanted to go through some of the moments in this game. And one thing that stood out to me about Indiana's big game consistency, their tight game consistency, the execution in key spots, third and fourth downs, defense comes up with it late. I watched all three sides of the ball carry the day for the Indiana Hoosiers. Special teams, brilliant I think it was Indiana's best side of the ball for all
the
4
side of the
quarters.
ball that was the most inexperienced in terms of actual playing time this year.
Yeah, and I think it was the best side of the ball consistently for Indiana in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the fact that they almost missed an extra point, but didn't. All the field goals went in. The punt that pinned the Hurricanes inside the 10 sets up the block punt for the touchdown. You win the game by 6. I mean, at the end there, Miami's offense started rolling. Mm-hmm. I mean, really rolling.
How magical was it, though? How magical was it for the game to end on a Carson Beck interception?
Yeah, I mean
that's so storybook, like full circle moment. Like you start reading the book, it starts to take a turn, but you know it's going to make its way back. That's what happened in this game. That's what happened.
And you know what this game came down to? It is stuff that we talked about on our crossover segments on Monday. Well, earlier today, as you're listening to this. Indiana's a more disciplined football team. They're the most disciplined football team, and Miami couldn't make the mistakes, right? Miami played a heck of a football game. They really did.
Yeah,
you look at what Oregon and Alabama were able to do. No one played Indiana to a single-digit game this year, but Ohio State and Miami. So full credit there to Mario Cristobal and the Hurricanes. The defensive ends, boy, they were good. Those two guys almost single-handedly kept Miami. Almost single-handedly won the national championship there. But the fact of the matter is Indiana got a touchdown. Why? Because they went from 3rd and 12 to 3rd and 7 after an offside to a handoff for a first down and a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then there was a 3rd and long, and then it was a face mask. I think they overcame that one. But Carson Beck throws the interception. Mendoza didn't. Like that's really what this was. The team that everyone talked about as being more detail-oriented, better coached, fewer mistakes, not going to beat themselves. They didn't beat themselves. And Miami, it was a handful of plays, but guess what? When you're a prize fight like this, that's what it comes down to.
They added up. And Indiana's consistency and execution came down to being the difference in a game like this, where Indiana flat out did not play their best football. They played one of their worst games in the last 2 months, I think, especially on the offensive side, and give Miami a ton of credit as we will. But that's where those things come into play. That's where the extra reps in spring, the workout over the summer, the longer practice in the fall, that's where those things come in, is at a 27-21 game when your defense is on the field having to get a stop to win a national championship. When it's 4th and 5 and your head coach says, nah, we're good. We don't want the field goal. Let's give it to our Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. And not only does he pick up yards, not only does he pick up the first down, he picked up the damn touchdown, and Indiana wins the national championship because of it. That's the craziest call I've ever seen in my entire life.
I was flabbergasted.
That is unbelievable.
That you called that on 4th and 5. What are you, Iowa? Sitting there going, we can't throw it, so we're going to have to run. I mean, ballsy.
Yes.
Ballsy.
Yes.
As can be from Mike Shanahan to put that call out there. And look, I don't think Indiana managed this game perfectly. Their staff, of course, won the day when it was all said and done, but it's the worst play call you've ever seen if they don't convert on 4th and 5. Mendoza gives a Herculean effort. Who's 78 on the Indiana offensive line?
You have Smith, you have Lynch, and then you have Coogan in the center right there, too.
Right. Who is number 78?
You're getting me on the spot here.
Okay. Look it up real quick. His name has to be set. But Curt Cignetti goes, no, we're going for it. All right, now we'll kick the field goal. Timeout. We don't want to delay again. You know what?
Yeah, Coogan, the center. Okay, that's what I thought. Coogan.
78 is Pat Coogan.
Right in the middle.
Notre Dame. There you go. He made the block.
Who got a shout out for Marcus Freeman on the pregame show.
Block of the year on that quarterback draw. I mean, the length at which he holds a great Miami interior defensive lineman. I don't care which one it was. Miami's defensive front, I think, beat Indiana's O-line. In this game, they absolutely
both
did.
Both tackles were horrific,
and so I just that play call, man. If it doesn't work, you're getting blasted if you lose the game. And instead, Mendoza just gives you an effort. I mean,
yeah. 27-21 final score. Indiana beats Miami in their home stadium. But did you notice who had more fans there?
I was about to shout out the
Hoosiers.
Indiana fans, man. They
made
traveled.
Yes, they did. To the most expensive game in the history of college football to get in the doors. An Indiana fan said, we don't care. And I don't even want to describe this, Spencer, as a once-in-a-lifetime thing, because Indiana's not going anywhere. And that's a conversation for after tonight, right?
Yeah.
We're celebrating this. We're celebrating this season. We're celebrating this game. But that is a conversation for down the road. Indiana fans believed. That's what it came down to. The Hoosiers fans showed up because they knew their team was going to win the national championship. And how romantic is it that the best team in the country won the national championship? Because that's not always the case. It's not always the case at all. But Indiana got it done 27-21. We're going to go through all those big moment plays. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth. We'll do likes and dislikes, of course, at the end. We'll kind of break all this down. I don't know exactly what direction we're going to go down the stretch. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you in here. So
we'll do it live
in the YouTube comments. You know what?
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Absolutely, we will. And you know, this game started basically like I thought it was going to, Spencer. How I predicted the Oregon game to start, that didn't go so well. This game, on the other hand, you're welcome. This game, on the other hand, slow offenses, great defensive plays, and just not a whole lot happening. Miami started, 0 for 8 on third down? They had scored on a non-third down play, but 0 for 8 on third down, and Indiana wasn't much better. It started really ugly, Spencer, and both defenses showed up to play like we thought they would.
Yeah, they really did. And for Miami, and they did it in the fashion that we expected, right? Because for Miami, it was Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain. I mean, they were taken over, and Indiana's tackles couldn't block them. I mean, I don't know that there's anybody in college football that can consistently block those guys. Nobody was able to. They're about to be first-round picks for a reason, but Indiana on the other side is just doing it with their zone coverage, and they're so well coached. You know, one of my favorite moments of this game from Indiana's standpoint, Goins, was the D'Angelo Pons pass breakup on, I think it was a tight end wheel route or streak. Yeah. That moment, I think, is just something that encapsulates what has given the backbone to this Indiana rise, which has been so improbable and unlike anything we've ever seen. Their coaching of every single player is so good. Pons comes downhill. The guy has it in his hands. And I don't know that in real time I've ever seen a ball get dislodged that looked like that. Yeah. But he comes nowhere close to targeting. He knocks the ball out. He's in the right position. Hit him hard. It's just, they do all the little things. Every single detail, it feels like they do really well. And they didn't do them perfectly in this game because Miami forced them into some mistakes. I saw more missed blocks. I saw more incomplete passes from Mendoza than we had seen from Indiana in any game this season. But yeah, I am beyond impressed and borderline speechless at what Curt Cignetti has done. This doesn't have a precedent. This is a new, unique precedent. And I feel bad for coaches that just got hired who, in the back of some athletic directors' minds, are going to look at Curt Cignetti and say, wait, if he did that, why aren't you doing at least this?
He did it with a bunch of G5 transfers, not a single 5-star on the roster, and half of those guys are now going to the league. Like that's the difference. And you talk about the D'Angelo Pons play. I highlight the play that I think the broadcast did too. Kirk Herbstreit did with Omar Cooper, right on the swing play to the right, where he had a chance to block the safety or go and block the corner. And he said, I'll take the bigger safety, peels off the corner, smacks the safety out of the way, and Indiana picks up more than a first down and sets themselves up. I mean, just those types of plays where Indiana stuffs the run play, they stay disciplined. Sure, Miami had their big play, and they were going to get it with either Tony or Mark Fletcher. They got it. Indiana responded. Indiana didn't turn the football over. Miami didn't either until the very last play of the game. But how about, and I tweeted this out or posted it on X on our Locked On Hoosiers page, when things started to get dicey, Spencer, Indiana's offense went 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out. Miami starts to build a little momentum. It's a 1-score game. And that was when the punt inside the 5 happened. And I was like, I think Indiana needs a turnover. I tweeted it. I said, I smell a turnover here. Now, a blocked punt is not technically a turnover, but it's pretty darn close.
Really?
I don't think so. A blocked punt.
Well, we all know what happened.
You made a play, is what happened.
Yeah.
You got a guy in Mel Kamar, and I want to highlight him for a moment. A guy that came back this year on that Indiana defensive line, looking to be first-team All-American, looking to be one of the best defensive linemen in college football, looking to break a tackle record at IU. And his season just didn't pan out that way. He was kind of hidden in all these other guys around him and the different layers of the Indiana defense. But how about him to be the guy who's been there from the start, to come through off the side, completely unblocked? I don't know how you missed the guy. Gets his big paw on the football, and there's Jones to hop on top of it. Indiana got the play to buy themselves a little bit of time. But they've done that all year, Spencer. They've done that all year long. They got it, they converted, they capitalized, and Indiana wins the national championship game because of it. Because, look, off the final score, you don't have a blocked punt, you lose. I know it's not directly correlated that way, but in terms of the scoreboard, it absolutely is. And who is to say that if Indiana is unable, if, let's say, they get the football back, was there any confidence in Indiana's offense at that moment in the game to do anything? I didn't have it. I had none. That's why I was asking the defense, or I guess the special teams, to help them out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that kind of, from a Hoosier standpoint, let you breathe, kind of like, man, because as we've pointed out, Miami just wouldn't go away. Miami just kept coming back. I mean, that's a tough, gritty group of guys there for the Hurricanes and Mario Cristobal, because the way that it felt like Indiana when they were up 10-0 at the half, it felt like a mountain to climb, and they darn near climbed it. I mean, that took a lot. Are we taking a break, by the way? I don't want to ramble.
We probably should. Yeah, we should probably do that at some point. Locked On would appreciate it.
Yeah. Why don't you do that now? Because we got plenty more okay. to get to. This live stream is nowhere close to done.
We will do so. We will take a break. We'll be right back. Show some love to our sponsors. Live edition of Locked On Hoosiers, as Indiana are the national champions. We're back right after this. Well, the college football playoff is now over, thanks to your Indiana Hoosiers, but the NFL playoffs are here, and on NFL playoff game days like we have coming up this weekend, FanDuel users can get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Here's what I love about it, right? You could have done this tonight for the national championship game, but if you missed out, you can do it coming up for the NFL playoffs. If you have a bet that you already like, just use a profit boost and get more payout if it hits. That's the awesome thing about what FanDuel has going on right now. So you can ride with the favorite when you think a team controls the matchup, like Indiana did today, or you can build a parlay around the players and moments you think decide the game. Then you just apply that profit boost and go for even bigger winnings. And when you win, FanDuel pays out instantly, which is perfect for playoff football. FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long, so visit FanDuel.com to get your NFL playoff profit boost every single game day. This live edition of Locked On Hoosiers is also brought to you by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever just to hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have the taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or the guesswork. So instead of sitting down with all the paperwork and trying to figure it out by yourself, because you're probably not going to do so, just get a TurboTax expert in person or connect online and have them help you through it. It's a huge time saver, and it gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150. Folks, that's worth it. Let's be real. All in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. Welcome back into this live edition of Locked On Hoosiers. We got our man Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football. We're streaming to his folks as well on YouTube. And I'm your man Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers. We are live and alive on this Monday night. I don't care what time it is. The Hoosiers are national champions. And Spencer, I'll speak for a lot of Indiana fans here. I don't know how long this is going to take to really settle in. Like the night of, you're always just getting after it, celebrating. This is awesome. But I don't know how long it's going to take to sit back and be like, holy crap, they did it. They went 16-0. They beat every team that stood in front of them. Most of them, it wasn't even close. And they beat a very, very good Miami team in the national championship. You realize we have Indiana fans, Spencer, that are 60, 70, 80 years old who have been cheering on for IU their entire lives. And this is the peak of their life. This, right now, this moment, this night. Think about how freaking cool that is. That is so
You take
special.
the losingest program in college football, and in 2 years, not 10 years, not 5, not in 2 years, you win the national championship. And it underscores a point that I've made before that, some folks attribute the expanded playoff to the kind of balancing out and knocking down the SEC from college football and NIL playing a factor. The number one thing that has given rise to that trend has been the transfer portal.
Yeah.
That is inarguable at this point. Because Indiana isn't here. This takes many more years. Cignetti might still have done it in the mid-2010s, but it would have taken him at least 3 or 4 years because he wouldn't have been able to bring his guys with him who have been running the same system, who have been, working for the same coaches and understanding every little thing about how they're supposed to play on either side of the ball. They wouldn't have been able to bring in Fernando Mendoza. They wouldn't have done any of that. And so the portal has just been, for all the flack it takes, and there are plenty of flaws. I talk about them all the time. I mean, Darian Mensah might be Miami's next quarterback, and I don't think that's great, seeing as he signed a 2-year deal to go to Duke, who ponied up and paid him. He signs the deal and then can just say, no, I'm done. That's not good for the sport, and that's not a shot at Miami, because the Damon Williams situation, he's got to be sued potentially to stay. Yeah. That's not good either. Okay, so I think that the Hoosiers have just mastered this so incredibly well. And they have to be the first team to violate the blue chip ratio in a long time, right?
Oh, there's no doubt. Again, there's 0 5-stars on the team. I think 7 4-stars is technically the count, depending on what site you look at.
I thought the blue chip was over 50% 4 and 5-star recruits. I could have those numbers wrong off the top of my head.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And I don't think Indiana has that. And I just think that evaluating talent in the portal can be really difficult sometimes. Unless you're Curt Cignetti in Indiana, who just hit home run after home run after home run with all of this stuff. And the way that's an awesome comment right there. The way that this team came together could only have happened in this era, but that Curt Cignetti still made this happen doesn't make any sense.
I know.
You asked how long is it going to take to set in? A couple weeks, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, the Big Ten just won its 3rd straight national championship. The other brands,
I haven't even thought of that yet.
The other brands, I know, tough times in the SEC. The other brands that won it were Ohio State and Michigan, and Indiana's just there in 2 years. It's insane. I want to go back to some specific moments in the game, because I want your thoughts on a few of these.
Yep.
Curt Cignetti made 2 decisions in this game that I thought were flat out awful, and Indiana still won the football game. First one, and this is a credit. This is not me trying to throw shade or anything like that. This is a credit to Cignetti and his staff and the job they just did. End of the half was managed dreadfully.
What was it, 23, 24 seconds?
No, it was 31.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it was a whole play's worth, a whole play clock. And
you had 31. Miami had just attempted a 50-yard field goal The ball was it was either your own 33 or your own 40. I think it goes back to where the ball was snapped from, and it only goes back to where it was kicked from if you're at a certain yard line. But you're at your own 33. You pick up 8 yards running the ball on first down. And the strange thing to me about this was that at the end of the first half against Oregon, they handled it differently. They ran it. They did get a good gain, and then they got aggressive, and then they got a field goal before the half, which if that had happened, that last drive wouldn't have been stressful at all because the field goal would have been to go up by 9. And you just took a timeout into the half when you ran the Hail Mary with 5 seconds on the clock. You're going, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You've got the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. Do you not trust him?
Well, that seemed to be the motto a lot of the night, though, did it not? I mean, there were several times where I was like, why are we not running, or why are we not letting Fernando do more? And I understand the edges had a huge impact on this in the Miami secondary, but yeah, there were several times, that one included, where it's like, let Fernando be Fernando. You did at the end, right? You did on 4 and 5 on a run play of all things. But no, I'm totally with you. And I think the way that Curt Cignetti reacted, and I don't know if you saw the sideline shot, he was getting after it. He was not happy. I think the plan in his mind was to get up and go, and Indiana maybe wasn't all on the same page. And yeah, they let 25, 30 seconds roll off the clock, and then they called one with, like 5 or 3 seconds or whatever.
And then they carried a timeout into the half. Like having the ball.
You get that with you in the third quarter, right? You get to bring it with you.
That's right. Forgot about that rule. But I mean, you've got the Heisman Trophy winner, unstoppable back shoulder fades for the most part, and you're past your own 30-yard line with 2 timeouts in 30 seconds, and your kicker's got a long of 58, and you're not going to try and go give him a chance. I could not believe that. And then when they kicked the field goal to go up 6, hated it.
I hated the run play before it.
Yes, sorry. I did not get specific enough.
3rd and 5.
I hated the run on 3rd and 5. I disliked the kicking of the field goal to go up by 6. Because either way, a field goal would have sent you into overtime for sure. However, if you don't convert that, you've got Miami backed up inside their own 10.
Yeah.
And if you can't trust your defense there, just the lack of trust there for your defense to not be able to not let them certainly get a touchdown, which would have won the game, but to take it out of the hands of your Heisman Trophy winner when the last time you put it in his hands on 4th and 5, he made the play of the year. He made the most iconic play in the history of Indiana football. I couldn't believe those moments, Goins, and still, Indiana did that, and guess what? They didn't make nearly as many mistakes as Miami. Not even close.
No, and I want to talk about Miami for a second because shout out to them, because I was one of the more vocal haters on that Miami team coming into the college football playoff because I didn't believe in them. I didn't believe in Mario Cristobal. I didn't believe in Carson Beck. I did not believe in the run that they were going to have to go through on the road at A&M. Then they had to play Ohio State. Most people projected that they were going to have to play Georgia in the semifinals. They still had to play a very talented and hot Ole Miss team. I didn't believe in Miami up until this game, and then I did. And I knew that they were good. I thought Indiana was better, and clearly tonight they were. But Miami played good enough to have a shot, and they did. They had a shot in this game. What else could you ask for if you're Miami other than obviously blowing them out is 2-minute drill, your quarterback, your offense, go win the game. And Carson Beck threw a pick. He threw a pick. There's nothing else you could ask for. Also, I saw somebody talking in here, a lot of people talking in here. The officiating, can we take like 60 seconds, please, and just get this out of the way?
Bad.
Horrific. Horrible.
The
terrible.
missed hold on Omar Cooper on 3rd and 5. Guys, that was... It's not like there was a crowd of guys that were obstructing the view. I mean, yeesh. I mean, that was bad. Now, on the outside, on the back shoulder fades, I was okay with a lot of the hand fighting that got let go. The Omar Cooper hold, though, was one of several calls that
when there
I
are
just
handfuls, though, and one guy has let go and the other guy is still like that.
The holding on to the horse collar while Cooper's streaking up the field. I was going, guys, what are we
It started with the Mendoza pop at the very beginning that had his lip all bloody. I mean, I didn't like that.
Could have been targeting, by the way.
Could have been. Should have been, I think. Should have been targeting, in my opinion. But
yeah, that's what Cignetti was hot about, and he was correct.
And he let him know at halftime, which I think is fantastic. Okay, I just had to get that out. It was horrific, and I think it did keep the game closer than it needed to be. I'll just say that. But
hey, but you know what I always say? Because I have come to unfortunately accept that officiating is just not going to be good in any sport or I don't really expect it in the professional ranks either. It's clearly too tough a job for these guys. The great teams overcome, and the Indiana Hoosiers are a great football team. And they overcame it, and they found a way to win. And man, it was so classic for this Hoosiers defense on that game-sealing interception to have two guys on top of Carson Beck and to have confused a seventh-year quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean their ability to disguise coverages on the back end in that secondary is better than anybody I've ever seen. I mean, you would need to have, I think, to consistently slice and dice. And Beck did a great job, made some great reads and great throws in the football game, to be sure. But I think you'd have to have a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees level understanding of defensive schemes and coverage disguises. Because, man, they're just so good at it. I mean, they confused Ty Simpson. They confused Dante Moore. They confused Julian. It's just, you go up and down the list, you go, these are not scrub quarterbacks. These are elite college and future NFL guys. And just time and again, they're just Bryant Haynes. How is he not a head coach for 2026? I don't get it.
Shut your mouth. Will you stop?
It's not going to last. I mean, you're going to get you'll get another full season. He'll get Indiana back to the playoff. And then, unless we fix the calendar in the sport, he'll be distracted with a head coaching opportunity. Bryant Haynes, the next head coch of who's going to be next on the?
Well, looks like we're out of time for you.
Isn't that?
Well, there's a reason he's making $3 million right now as a defensive coordinator. I want you, as the host of Locked On College Football and just the college football nerd that you are, go back 5, 7, 10 years and think about if I came to you and said, hey, there's a defensive coordinator in college football making $3 million. Like, that was a foreign concept. Like, I remember when the first couple of coordinators made $1 million, and it was like, whoa, holy crap. And now they're making 3. You got Shanahan making almost 2. You got Haynes making 3. And I understand that those guys are so good that they will always have people calling their phone. I have a biased confidence that Indiana continues to pay them, continues to take care of them, and continues to keep them at home and doesn't let them leave. I need to hear more from Shanahan and Haynes on or off the record on what their full head coaching want is. If that
I just thought of it. I just first of all, I'm curious how much Brent Venables was making as the DC at Clemson, because he had been for a long time desired to be a head coach. Of course, now he's at Oklahoma and doing a good job with the Sooners. But I'm going to make this early prediction. Hoosiers fans, avert your ears if you don't want to hear this discussion. But you literally just won the national championship, so I don't know how sensitive you could really be to what is just plain and obvious right now. Are you ready for this, Goins?
Yep, I'm looking up Brent Venables. I'm listening.
2027, Bryant Haynes, head coach, Clemson Tigers. Come on, tell me that's not the next big job to come open.
Dang it.
Yep, I'm speaking that it. Note the time, 11:56 p.m. Eastern on January 19th, 2026 is the first documented instance of Spencer McLaughlin saying that Bryant Haynes will be the head coach of the Clemson Tigers in 2027. Big brand, great job, time to move on from a legend. There it is.
I hate how good he could be there.
I
hate that idea. By the way, Brent Venables on his contract extension at Clemson in the year 2021 was making $2.5 million. That was That was also how much, oh God, listen to some of these names. That's how much Steve Sarkisian was making as the offensive coordinator at Alabama. And
that was where I was going next.
How much Kevin Steele was making as the defensive coordinator at Auburn. $2.5 million each is what they were making that year. His contract extension was through 26, but clearly that didn't last. And so now you've got, again, Brian Taines making 3, Shanahan making almost 2. I don't know, man. You were talking about the transfer portal and how that has helped build Indiana to what they are so quickly. I also think that Indiana, the university, the athletics department, Scott Dolson, the AD, they deserve a ton of credit because Curt Cignetti, he pulled a Nick Saban, Spencer. He pulled a Nick Saban when they hired him. He walked in the door, he kicked his feet up on the desk and said, "This is what I need. This is what I want. This is what I need. I need a new facility. I need a new weight room. We need updated locker rooms. We need this. We need that. We're going to make renovations. We're going to build an indoor facility. We're going to do all these things, and you're just going to be okay with it." And they were like, all right. And they did it. And they found people to invest. They found people who believed in this crazy psycho. And now 2 years later, he just brings them a national championship. And guys like Mark Cuban are just now getting involved big time, at least publicly, right? You now are having big time people buy in even more, especially when there's full on proof in the pudding, my friend. That is what's so special here is the university bought in. This wasn't just
the fans bought in.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody who represents IU in any way, shape, or form deserves partial credit for the national championship victory tonight.
I 100% agree with that and love that you shouted out the administration because I think the stereotypical outcome after year one would have been Cignetti bounces for a bigger job. Those conversations were had on shows like mine and many others about, well, who's going to go and hire Curt Cignetti? Could Penn State get Curt Cignetti? Penn State's a bigger, but Penn State is this, that he stayed there and that he wanted to be there and they had enough money. That doesn't show up. Money doesn't grow on trees. I don't care where you are. SEC, Big Ten, it doesn't matter. And I think that is such a testament to everybody at the administrative level, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, or a mix of both for the Hoosiers to have been able to keep him around and obviously give him everything that he needs logistically to go win a national championship. And it is the greatest coaching job that we have ever seen. It is better. By the way, this is 100% accurate. It'll sound crazy. It is better than anything Nick Saban ever did at Alabama.
I agree. And it sounds egregious, but it's true.
It absolutely is. Nick Saban is the best coach, for now, in the history of college football, but the best individual coaching season has been this year with the Hoosiers. I mean, Nick Saban had more talent than most of the teams that he was going up against and deserves all the credit in the world for turning them into good players and for getting them to the university and the football program in the first place. There's nothing to compare this Indiana championship season to. Absolutely nothing.
It's on its own island. It's in its own galaxy, and it will be honored. It will be celebrated. It will be studied for the rest of our days. I don't care if you're 10 years old or 90 years old right now. This will be studied and in the history books until the whole next complete generation comes through our earth. And that is awesome to think about.
It's a paradigm shifter. It's one of those things that happens in a league or a sport that everyone looks around and goes, we have to try and be like that. The example that pops into my head is when Sean McVay got hired by the Rams and started running that offensive system with a lot of 11 personnel and jet motion and all of that type of offense. I don't think he was the first one to do it, but all of a sudden, once he went there and the level of success he had with a franchise that had been perennially 7-9 basically my entire life, all of a sudden, everybody wanted to be like the Rams. They wanted to hire people who had coached with the Rams. They wanted to run the Rams' offensive system. Anything they could do to be like that. That's what Indiana, I think, is going to be in college football now, is everyone's going to look around and say, how are we running our program like Indiana? How can we be more like the Hoosiers? Because I think
which is an unfair standard. That's so unfair.
It is.
It's so unfair.
It is. But you're either trying to be the best or you're content with mediocrity. And I think most places are trying. Well, not most, but I think a lot of places are going to fall into the trying to be the best camp. And for Indiana to have done this, of all programs, the losingest in the history of college football boggles the mind. And yet here we are. No team has ever gone 16-0. Here we are. And I mean, the way this team could just respond to anything, win any type of game, lean on their offense, make plays on special teams, lean on their defense, lean on Mendoza, lean on the ground game. They're so balanced, so disciplined, so capable, well coached, well schemed. They're always ready to go. I mean, give me a game this year, Penn State maybe, where Indiana wasn't ready to go.
Yeah,
that was kind of it.
I mean, Iowa wasn't great. You were not good in Iowa.
But Iowa's a good team, and you were on the road. Penn State had kind of thrown in the towel at that point in the season, and we were on the precipice of an upset that would have been the most shocking thing since Penn State lost to UCLA earlier in the year.
Dang. I hope our buddy Zach Seiko is
Steve catching strays for no reason.
That poor guy on a Monday.
Yeah.
That's terrible. But that's what I want to do right now, Spencer, is I want to go through this Indiana football schedule and just not dissect every single game. We don't have time to do that all tonight. You can dip out and I'll do it if you want. But just looking at this thing start to finish, because there are very few blemishes on it. Not a true one, obviously. 16-0, undefeated season. Also, by the way, Indiana fans will appreciate this. John Fanta, broadcaster for NBC Sports, put out a tweet and said the most recent teams to go undefeated in college football and men's college basketball: Curt Cignetti's 2025 Indiana Hoosiers and Bob Knight's 1975-1976 Indiana Hoosiers. How freaking cool is that?
He missed one in there, but okay. 2019 LSU. I'm pretty sure 2020 Bama was undefeated.
Most recent.
Oh.
Most recent.
For Indiana, you mean?
No, like Indiana is now currently the most recent undefeated team in college football.
Okay. Now I see it. Now I see. Okay. Yeah. I missed that part.
It's more so having an opportunity to relate Curt Cignetti and Bob Knight, which is pretty awesome. But
that is indeed that is quite the connection.
Yeah, but Indiana's schedule, okay? I know people made fun of the non-conference schedule. Clearly, it doesn't matter.
It's a joke.
People can poke fun of it all they want. It is.
I'm going to keep calling it out because, look, that Indiana played in a game like this, to me, just further underscores the point that they should be required to play a legit non-conference game. It's better for college football.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Indiana won.
I do know. I know why Indiana's doing it. The logic is very clear, but their non-conference next year is North Texas, Howard, and Western Kentucky. No one's going to watch the greatest story in college football until September 26th. No one's going to care. I will not be talking about them in a game preview on my show until the week of September 26th.
I will. I got you, baby. I got you. Locked on Hoosiers.
Get dialed into Western Kentucky, Howard, and North Texas.
But I want to flash back, Spencer, to the picture that I have right here. Do you remember what game this is?
I bet you it's Illinois.
That is the Illinois game. That is a top 10 Illinois team that came to Bloomington at night, sold out, and Indiana absolutely waxed. There it is. My man. Everybody pause. Somebody take a screenshot. Smile. Yeah. There it is. Indiana waxed that Illinois team. Now, come to find out, that Illinois team wasn't as good as we thought they were.
They're still a good team. They weren't a great team, but they were a good team.
But they were not 53 points worse that night. Well, I guess they were that night, but you know what I'm saying. Indiana did it right then, and it was like, all right. They are as good as they were last year. They struggled on the road at Iowa, but they found a way to win it. Mendoza had a Heisman moment. They go on the road to Oregon in a game that most people said they couldn't win, and they did by 10. They blast Michigan State. They blast UCLA. They blast Maryland even after a poor start. Then the Penn State game happened, and that was the best defensive performance other than Iowa they had gone up against to that point, because Penn State was on them all game long. Could not get anything going offensively, but Indiana found a way to win. Finding a way to win on the road at Iowa, finding a way to win on the road at Oregon, and finding a way to win on the road at Penn State helped Indiana win this game tonight. I mean, it's impossible not to go back to those games, to those moments. Fourth down against Penn State and Happy Valley, and you have to find Omar Cooper in the back of the end zone to win the football game. Like, those things matter, man. And that's what Curt Cignetti has talked about for so long. You absolutely wipe Wisconsin and Purdue. You beat Ohio State in a tight game to win your first Big Ten championship game. You blow out Alabama. You blow out Oregon. Sorry. And then you beat Miami in the national championship game. I mean, it will go down as...
Well, you know, the other thing about all of those close games, I think there really is something to, you know, what Indiana went through this year compared to Texas Tech. So Texas Tech hadn't played in a tight game really all season. I mean, the Utah game was close and they pulled away at the end, but they hadn't played a game where they were outmatched. They hadn't played a game. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I just think that once they got into the Peach Bowl against Oregon, or the Orange Bowl against Oregon, once they got...
Right. It was Peach Bowl. You got it right.
I don't like you. But once they got into the Orange Bowl against Oregon and they were trailing at the half and the offense hadn't scored a single point, they didn't know how to come back from that spot because they hadn't had to. Yeah. Because they'd been so good. And that's not to say that you should, you know, try to make your team, well, not too good because you don't want to not be challenged. No, of course, that's silly. I just think that when I was watching this game, I knew Indiana was going to win. Now, Miami gave them a serious scare, and I thought, oh my gosh, they've got a chance. Oh my gosh, they've got an opportunity here. The reason I continue to feel confident Indiana was going to win is because they have been the execution team this year.
Yep.
Situationally, game on, which again is why I could not understand 3rd and 5 and you take it out of Mendoza's hands. Why? Yeah. Why? Do you think he's going to throw a pick? Do you think he's going to fumble? What exactly are you worried about in that spot?
Yeah.
All year, Ohio State, late against Oregon, just Penn State, Iowa, every single time.
Am I crazy to think that Miami, I thought the same thing about them. Like, that third quarter, like, they just kept running at Indiana. I know they broke the big one off. There may or may not have been a reason for that, but they did. I don't think they let him throw the ball. How much did Carson Beck throw the ball tonight?
Not
32 times. That's more than I thought, to be honest. 19 of 32.
Well, there was, I think some of that was because they had to, because they got down.
Fair.
Miami wanted to play the game the way they got back into it, which was running the ball with Mark Fletcher and Malachi Toney, both of whom are going to be back next year, by the way.
Which is crazy.
The Canes will lose. I think Francis Malino is gone. The offensive line, I'm sure, will still be good with Cristobal and Mirabal there. We'll see if they get Darian Mensah at quarterback. Maybe they've landed him by the time you listen to or watch this show. But, you know, Miami just kept running the ball because that's what they have been good at. That's what they're built to do. It sets up their passing game. You know, one of their best passing plays of the day was off of play action. It was that layered pass to C.J. Daniels. And I think it ended up leading to a missed field goal. But, you know, it just shows, like, the way Miami was built to play, Indiana was ready to respond. And, yeah, there was a hold on the touchdown run, but, you know, flag didn't. I mean, you look at the replay in slow-mo, sure, it's easy to see. Like, that's one that I understand the frustration because we all watch it on TV and go, oh, yeah, there's a big lane there because Aiden Fisher is getting held. Like, this is or was it Aiden Fisher? No, it was.
Was it? I thought it was. Was it? No, Fisher was on a different. Well,
it might have been. It might have been.
Off, and then it may have been Hardy or Jones coming off. I can't remember.
I think it might have been Hardy. It might have been Hardy, but I think it was 46, not 4. But I think that when you look at what has made Miami successful, you know, for a little while, I was having to drive back from a work thing for a coach's show and was listening to the game on ESPN radio. And Miami had to drive early in the game. And Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy were calling it on ESPN radio. And they had a drive where they went 3 and out, and they had 3 straight pass attempts.
Yeah.
And McElroy correctly pointed out, what are you doing? He didn't say it exactly like that, but he just basically said, how do you not give Mark Fletcher the ball once? There's something to staying on schedule, even if you only pick up 2 or 3 yards. This is not a straight drop back passing offense. It's not the way that they've had success this year. And then they got back to what has worked for them. And Malachi Toney, whew.
Dude's good, man.
Dude's good.
So good.
Dude's good.
So
He's
good.
also a year ahead of schedule. He could wind up going to the NFL draft before he can get a drink at a bar.
Dang.
Because I think he turned 18 this year. He's supposed to be in high school. Came out a year early. He'll play 2 more years. He'll be 20.
That's scary. That's
he
really scary.
He could get drafted, and if his team goes and wins the Super Bowl, when the champagne gets popped, he's gonna have to leave the room.
He's gonna be drinking one of these, buddy. He's gonna be drinking water and hanging. Hey, somebody get this guy.
He's gonna be getting a sugar high in the locker room, man.
He's drinking sparkling grape juice in there to fit in.
Yeah,
he is good though. And speaking of individual players, and we can kind of begin to wind down here as Indiana wins the national championship 27-21 over Miami. I want to highlight specific individual Indiana players. And we're not going to do it all. We're not going to get into the guys that are returning, coming back, or leaving and stuff. I'll do that on personal shows moving on for the next several weeks. But guys that highlighted tonight and guys that got Indiana here. The obvious is Fernando Mendoza, who we have talked a ton about already. The 4th and 5 to not only get positive yards, to not only get the first down, but to just put his body on the line after he had just been beat to hell and got to the end zone. There's already pictures out there. I don't know if you've seen them. They are incredible. They will be hung in living rooms across the state of Indiana, and they will never be taken down. They will have a fireproof paint on them for when, even if the house goes away, the picture will still remain floating there somehow of Fernando Mendoza's diving attempt to get into the end zone. I mean, he's going to go down
4th and 5.
He's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks in college football history.
He'll go down as one of the clutches. I mean, look at the list of quarterbacks that have led their teams to undefeated seasons. In recent memory, you've got Mendoza, obviously, Mac Jones with that COVID, and that was in the COVID year, and it was not exact. It was close to normal football. Not exactly, though. I don't think they played a full season. They certainly didn't win 16 games. Joe Burrow, LSU, 2019. Trevor Lawrence, I believe, went undefeated in 2018.
Yeah, I mean,
with Clemson when they beat Alabama in the national championship.
Jameis Winston, 2013.
Yeah, Jameis Winston with Florida State. Cam Newton at Auburn.
Yeah. The list is limited. Very limited.
Yeah, the list is
all
pretty
guys
short.
that went to win. Most of those guys won Heisman trophies, and they all went on to play in the NFL somehow. Like that's Fernando Mendoza, a guy that we know the full circle moment of him in Miami. Also, him calling out Miami on the post game interview was phenomenal. That was awesome. Good for him.
Yeah, saying I wasn't allowed to even walk on there. Oh, JJ McCarthy at Mich. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. Not even for the reason you think. The dude had to make like 6 throws a game.
I mean,
people have talked about, Mendoza doesn't put up huge stats, which he doesn't. Well, he only has to make a couple big-time throws. J.J. McCarthy didn't even have to do as much.
He didn't make any.
Yeah, what was J.J. McCarthy's big moment? I can think of plays or moments that all those quarterbacks had in the undefeated national championship season. Cam's comeback against Auburn. Jameis had one of those run. Honestly, Jameis and Mendoza kind of run the same.
Jameis had the toss in the national championship game.
Yeah, the throw to Benjamin against Auburn on the slant. Kelvin Benjamin, I'm pretty sure it was. Joe Burrow, I can see so many deep balls going down.
A million of them. Yeah.
Going down the sideline to Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, which is
his Heisman
insane.
Moment was smoking the cigar afterwards. That was that was his.
Yeah, Mendoza, the 4th and 5. Mac Jones didn't really have one. But again, with J.J. McCarthy, I can't even think of. He had this insane throw. He threaded the needle against Ohio State.
Didn't he have a run or two in there where it was like,
I
don't know. Anyway, Mendoza has those moments, and he's go
got
down.
a bunch of them, and that's the thing. You just go to this year. 4th and 5 in the national championship game. 3rd and 5, I think it was. 3rd and 3 against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. The touchdown against Penn State. The touchdown against Iowa. The touchdown against Oregon. They're the execution national champions.
With a guy who played college football at California.
For 3 years. 3 or 4. Was it 3 or 4? I think it was 3.
3. In Indiana, and Curt Cignetti and Mike Shanahan said, that's our guy.
Yeah. Can't believe that Justin Wilcox and company got fired because they didn't think Mendoza was the starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. And
then when he became the starter, I don't know if Hoosier fans know this or not, but this is some good stuff and demonstrative of why. Again, there was a staff change in Berkeley this year. Mendoza redshirts in 2022. In 2023, which, that's normal. In 2023, he begins the year as the number 3 quarterback. When the first 2 guys struggle wildly, they put Mendoza in, and he starts doing well. And in 2024, they brought in a transfer to compete with Mendoza.
Ooh. Not good.
You know how foolish you got to feel right now watching Mendoza win the Heisman and the Natty?
They didn't watch.
At Indiana?
They went to something tonight. They didn't watch. There's no way.
I mean, Cignetti looked at this guy and said, yeah, I can go win a national championship with him. And Cal said, we might want to bring in some competition here.
Yeah, so Mendoza obviously will be at the forefront of that, but then you start going through guys again who impacted tonight and who impacted the season. I understand the offensive line was not good tonight. Coogan at the center spot, the one highlight play of Big 99 just swimming around him. That was bad. That was like, holy crap. Both tackles.
Made up for it, though, with the block on 4th and 5.
Oh, yeah. The offensive line went up. And I said this going in. They were going up against the best defensive line they had seen all season long, and they struggled, but they still were so good this season and were a huge part of why Indiana got here against teams like Oregon and Ohio State and Penn State and Iowa and all these different teams, right? I think you look at the receivers. How about our boy, Charlie Becker? That dude is awesome. Whew. You needed 2 clutch throws, Spencer. 2. And you went to him both times.
On a day where Elijah Surratt couldn't catch a cold, which I didn't think I'd ever see. Yeah. All of a sudden, this is why you recruit and develop a bunch of depth. Because if you're only 1 or 2 deep, that might not be enough. Well, the Hoosiers are 3 deep at receiver. And Becker, man, the 2 back shoulder catches, just incredible. I don't know that you can stop that play.
The second one especially, where he was legitimately falling in the air catching.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Because you don't know the exact yard line where the back shoulder fade is going to throw up. And if you squat on it underneath, Mendoza's just going to throw it over the top. Yeah. Because he's that precise with his ball placement. I think that Becker's emergence over the second half of the season cannot be overlooked for how important it was to this Indiana run. I mean,
you know what's cool about Charlie Becker? He can come back next year, and he probably will.
I don't know, man. Draft stock pretty high.
Yeah, but he can be a 1-2 punch with Nick Marsh. With Josh Hoover throwing the football? Ooh. We can't go that far.
That's tomorrow. Got to live in the moment when you win.
Right.
When you win it all.
That's right. Charlie Becker was big. Elijah Surratt, Omar Cooper, those guys. Riley Nowakowski caught a couple of passes. That's been my X factor for several weeks. Shout out to him. Running the ball, Indiana ended up rushing for more yards than Miami did, 131 to 110. Kalon Black had 79. Roman Himby had 60. Fletcher had 112, but half of those came on one play. I said going into this game, Spencer, the team that would be more committed to running the football would win. That was Indiana. They were more committed to it. And especially a lot of those were down the stretch, obviously, and late and kind of icing the game. But, man, they got 2 bruisers at running back. Both of them are out of eligibility, which we hate to see them go. But those guys were such a big reason.
You got Turbo
Richard. Yeah.
You've got.
It's sweet. Yeah.
Is it not sweet. Richard?
I've heard Richard.
Oh,
is it
okay.
Richard?
I'm just going to call him Turbo.
Yeah, he will not have a last name. It will just be
Turbo.
Turbo.
Just be Turbo.
Yeah. So all of those guys offensively were such key parts of this. And then defensively, my God, that's where most of the James Madison guys live. That's where Mel Kamar, Aiden Fisher, D'Angelo Pons, they came with Curt Cignetti those years ago. He said, come with me. Let's go to play P4 football. Let's go to this place that has never won games ever. And let's see what we can do. And they said, all right, coach, let's go. And they did it. And now they are national champions. And fun fact, D'Angelo Pons technically could come back. He won't, but he could. And I'm willing it into existence. But those types of guys, guys like Isaiah Jones or Elijah Harding, the linebacker room, Mario Landino up front, even guys that are injured like Stephen Daly, who didn't get to play in the playoff run. I mean, all those guys, Amari Farrell at the safety spot. I mean, there's just so many guys to name, and they all were a key piece for Indiana to win the national championship. 27-21. Spencer, we'll wrap this up because we have more work to do. Final thoughts on Indiana, the college football season as a whole, my friend, and Indiana capping off possibly the greatest season of all time.
Can't fully wrap my head around it right now because it still doesn't make sense. And I think we're going to try to explain it in a million different ways during the offseason. But it'll just come back to Curt Cignetti. He's just better at this than everybody else. He's the best coach in college football right now. He's better than Kirby Smart. He's better than Ryan Day. There's nobody that I would take in college football over Curt Cignetti. That he just won a national championship at Indiana doesn't fully make sense. And yet here we are. So best in the country, and surprise, surprise, that's what it comes down to.
Hoosiers take down the Canes 27-21 in the national championship game. They are the first 16-0 team in the history of college football, and a 2-year turnaround is complete. Hoosier fans, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this journey all season long on Locked On Hoosiers and with our buddy Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football as well. Enjoy this night. For the people who are out partying and doing their thing and come and find us later, shout out to you as well. We appreciate you watching and listening wherever, however you are. Enjoy this moment. Enjoy it. Tell everybody, scream it from the rooftops. Never, ever, ever let them forget that the Indiana Hoosiers are college football national champions, because history was made tonight in Miami, Florida. He is Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football. I'm Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers. Make sure you subscribe to our channels. Follow us on your audio podcasting platforms. And don't you worry, we both have episodes coming out tomorrow. Let's see, I'm getting choked up already, Spencer. Talking this and a whole lot more. Until then, we appreciate you. Hoosiers are national champions. Until next time, college football fans, but especially Hoosier fans, stay safe, and we'll talk to you later.